Hello, and welcome to Candidates Forum 2021. I'm your host, Larry Curtis, and we are pleased to have in studio with us today candidate for City Councilor-At-Large, Michael Nunes. Michael, take a few minutes and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you would be a good choice as a City Councilor-At-Large.
So I was born and raised in Brockton, Massachusetts. I don't plan on going nowhere. That's why I'm running for Councilor-At-Large. I think I'm a perfect candidate because I get things done. My history and my job, you can ask people around me, my friends, family, they'll let you know I get things done, and I finish one thing before I start another thing. That's one thing about me, you know. I own a small business. I'm part of the National Small Business Association. I help other residents open businesses, and I sit on the NAACP Housing Committee, the Brockton chapter. You know, I also have my real estate license. So with all my expertise, I believe I could balance them together, you know, and be a perfect candidate for Councilor-At-Large.
Excellent. Okay. We have a series of questions that we're going to ask each of the candidates, so I'll start off with the first question. What do you believe is the most important issue facing the City Council today? Why? And what recommendations would you make moving forward on that issue?
Well, our major issue right now, city overall, is infrastructure. If you focus on downtown, it's the homelessness, and everybody sees that. That's why businesses are afraid to come in. We've seen histories of that. That's why Enterprise Block has not been rented out yet. The front has been empty, 6, 7 years now? You know, it's hard to get stuff rented out, especially when you have this type of environment around these businesses. So is it the infrastructure or the homeless issue that is most important, the most pressing issue that you believe is happening in the city? Infrastructure. We got to focus on infrastructure. We have a lot of gridlock roads that could be easily fixed. One's on Newberry, crossing to Belmont, right at Pluff School. That's one that we could fix. We have a lot of gridlock. It's hard for the firemen to navigate through these gridlocks, and some roads are just too wide. It's a proven fact, especially Main Street. They're wide. That's why people speed down these roads, and we have to slow them down. Infrastructure and fundamental speed limit has to be 25 miles per hour. I strongly believe in that. You know, that's all part of my infrastructure plan. Bottleneck the roads, bike lanes, and all that great stuff. You know.
Okay, as part of infrastructure concerns, there's always the utility aspects underneath. What's your feeling on how that has to take place? It's one thing to pave a road, but
yeah, you're not gonna pave the road to unpave it a week later to fix. You know, like Ames Street, they're paving it now.
Correct.
I believe they repaired the lines and all that before they did that. So it was years of work that was going on.
Yeah.
So obviously we have to fix the pipe, prioritize what needs to be fixed first, you know, and take steps in the procedure that, you know, just not to waste money and have to go and repair something twice. Fix it twice makes no sense.
Well, absolutely, I would agree with you there. As a City Councilor-At-Large, one of your primary responsibilities is to vote in support of issues for the overall city. You know, you are a Ward 7 resident, I believe?
No, I moved. I live in Ward 3 now.
Okay, so you're a Ward 3 resident, you know. How would you vote if the vote you cast would not be favorable to your specific ward, even though you are a Councilor-At-Large?
So what do you mean in particular?
So let's say an issue was coming up and it was going to impact the quality of life or whatever the issues in Ward 3 where you live today. Okay. Would you, and the vote you wanted to, and the vote you would have cast would result in a favorable outcome for the city, but not so much for the ward in which you live in?
I mean, if it's for the city, you have to think about the majority before you think about 10% or 20%. You have to think about majority of the people, what they want.
Great answer, because you are running for Councilor-At-Large.
Yes. Sometimes what I want, I can't get, but I'm not going to go be a baby about it and cry about it. There's another route. We'll work together and fix it, you know. It's about the city overall before just one particular ward, especially Ward 3, you know.
So as a Councilor-At-Large, you're reviewing the overall impact in the city's best interest overall. Okay, thank you. Currently, the City Council is elected every 2 years. Does the city need to consider changing the election cycle to every 4 years? And would you support the changing of the council positions from what are considered basically part-time positions today to full-time positions?
So the council-at-large position, I would keep it on the 2 years, and everything, the ward, I would keep it on the 2 years to make sure that people, you know, the checks and balance, make sure that, oh, I got to do my job next 2 years, someone's going to run against me, that kind of stuff. Mayor, it's not enough time. I believe mayor should have 4 years. I mean, we did have mayor for 4 years at one point,
At
but
one point,
everyone knows what happened, and we lost that. So, you know, we have to get the mayor 4 years back. I strongly believe in that. You know, give them time. You know.
Okay, but as a ward councillor, you would
No,
keep I
2
mean,
years.
as councillor-at-large and the ward councillors, you would keep those every 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years. Because if you're someone that's a council-at-large, really believe that it should be 4 years, and you really believe you're that strong person, you should be there 4 years. Go run for mayor then. That's what I say. Go run
Okay,
for mayor.
all right. Do you believe there's a learning curve, like as a new candidate, that should you win a position as one of the 4 city council-at-large positions that exist out there, that there's a learning curve, that maybe that first term is...
Of course, it's a learning
Yeah.
curve for everything, right? I opened my business. I learned as I went, but I got it done. Like I said, my business opened 3 years. Dad's delivery, door services. I got all the great stuff behind it, minority business enterprise. But with the council at large, there will be a learning. You have to learn. I can't just go in there and think I'm a know-it-all. But I'm telling you now that I've been studying. I know the Roberts rules. When it was created,
Okay.
it wasn't created. It was never created for city government. It was created for church. So whoever wants to really say that, oh, follow Robert's rule, well, Robert's rule was created for church, and believe it or not, in the Constitution, separation of church and state.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's kind of a confusion there. So don't tell me I don't know, because I've been doing my homework,
Okay.
on the back doors, whatever you want to call it,
Okay, all right. Small business owners, you happen to be a small
Yeah.
business owner, you mentioned, have expressed their frustration over the process of getting their projects approved in a timely fashion. Primary concerns tend to deal with the length of time it takes to get approvals from the different city departments or boards, which has resulted in some of these businesses taking their business elsewhere to
Yeah.
other towns. What does the city need to do to change this process?
Well, definitely need to change the meeting. So council at large right now, I don't believe a lot of them sit on any of these boards. I think it's volunteers, like the planning board, when you go and meet them, it's
Correct,
volunteers.
yeah.
All that has to be changed.
In what way?
The councilors have to sit on these boards. You want a full-time position, we're gonna work full-time. We're gonna meet every week instead of meeting, because what happens when you don't submit the paper on say, September 20th, and the meeting, you have to submit it 2 weeks before the meeting. The meeting is this week's, now you have to wait 4 weeks, a month, and guess what? The planning approves it, or you gotta go zoning first. When you fight in zoning, it takes you a month, then you go to planning, it takes you another month. We gotta cut that out. That time is money.
All right, so that is, so you're kind of confirming that that's the reality of what's happening today in the city.
Yeah, I've been going
Right,
through it. I know
okay,
someone that's
all
been
right,
going
so
through it. I've been helping
you're
someone
living it
going through
and
yeah.
working with somebody going through it. Okay, so your suggestion is that part of members of the city council should be members of these appointed boards?
Of course. No, it's not to down anybody on the board today.
No, right.
They have a life to live. You can only volunteer so much of your time. People
Correct.
you need money to eat. You can't volunteer every week. They do a great job, or whatever. But the time-wise, we have to shrink it down. I don't understand why we can't meet every week if we're a full-time counselor.
So if that were to be a direction for consideration moving forward, did I hear you correctly that then those city council positions may need to be transitioned to full-time
Correct,
positions,
correct.
paid full-time positions?
Correct. Like every other major city, Boston city council's full time. I don't know what they get paid, 80 to 90,000 a year, whatever. I'm not here for the money, so it doesn't even matter to me. I'm not here.
Right.
30-year resident. The change
Right,
that I have
yeah.
seen is
Well, no,
nothing.
I mean,
a lot of neglect.
I think the discussion is very valid because, I think as you've experienced personally and as you're working with other small business owners, that was what I heard you said, is that the process is basically, tedious and cumbersome if all the T's aren't crossed and the I's aren't dotted. Now, the other side might say, well, that's the way it's supposed to be. You should have been prepared.
It shouldn't be like that, though. It shouldn't. You go to other towns, say you missed the deadline, they'll help you out. You know what? We'll do a special meeting for you tomorrow. Come tomorrow at 10 o'clock. When nobody's doing nothing, let's go. It's proven fact. Go ask other towns. Go ask Easton. Go ask Taunton.
Okay.
Ask
All right.
Berkeley.
All right. On a more lighter side of things, 3 years ago, the city entered into a trash agreement that resulted in smaller trash containers. The decision resulted in homeowners having to purchase city-approved trash bags for the overflow. These bags have seen a 25% increase in cost after 2 years of service. Consumer trash bags can be purchased at much less a cost, up to 300% less. Why is the city required to use specific Brockton bags and not a more affordable trash bag?
Well, the bag that we use obviously is to make sure that we can afford the contract. So that's why it's priced, like that, because they have to pay for the contract. So if they make it $3 or less, they're not going to be able to, everything's check and balance again. Brockton's a big business, a corporation. We've been incorporated since forever now. So you need to charge that much money, $5. And with the small trash barrels,
Right.
I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%. The size of it, and I'll tell you why.
Please,
Because
yeah.
most of the trash that people are throwing away is not even trash. It's recyclable.
Well, again, I think you're correct in the concept that the smaller trash containers with the larger recyclable containers was to drive recycling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We spend money getting rid of our trash. We make money getting rid of our recycling. So not necessarily to the companies, but they charge us less because they're selling these recycled plastic, metal, all this stuff could get recycled and resold and repurposed.
So, if I heard you correctly, the cost of the city trash bags, which are now 4 for $5,
Yeah.
you could get them CVS or wherever you pick them up, is basically a cost-neutral issue for the city of Brockton, because the cost of that bag is basically the cost of disposing of the trash that's in it.
It's to discourage people.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And guess what? It's working. I've been driving around the city, the green trash bags, I barely see them. And the curb looks way much better. You don't got rodents ripping into the bags. You got people recycling more. The recycle bins are filled to the top, can't be closed. That's the thing that
Absolutely,
people
yeah.
want to see. China's not buying that trash no more. What are we
Right.
doing it? Burying it across town. We have to end that. You see Taunton, see Brockton, they all the landfills. Oh.
So, following up on our first question, when you mentioned the infrastructure as the most important piece, you also mentioned something on the homeless factor of what's happening within the city. Can you elaborate on that a little more for us?
Yeah, so Father Bill's, everybody knows Father Bill, Mainspring. They've been in the city dominant. They're the only homeless program in the city, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they bought Roadway in, which a lot of people don't, I guess, against it. And I think they got something going on Manley Street, the old National Guard building.
Well, there are some meetings coming up on some purchase of property on Manley Street that Father Bill's, I understand, is looking to relocate from downtown over.
Which I like it. I see a lot of people complain about it, but I think it's a great location, because across the street you got the dealership, you got, it's not a lot of houses around that area.
Not residential.
Residential,
right, It's more industrial.
Industrial.
Okay.
But, Mainspring, obviously Mainspring is not where it's now. That should be the prestige commercial club where the elites used to go, the Keats family, the Park of the Battles, and now it's one of those. No, I'm nothing against Father Bill's.
Oh,
God
absolutely
bless them
not.
and support them 100%.
It's a necessary program.
Of course, but you have to reconsider. Okay, does the owner even live in Brockton? Does he live in Brockton? What he designed there, that program, in by 6, out by 6, is a bad program. Jack's place, right behind it, perfect.
And that's long-term residency, which Jack's place is up there.
And the other one on
Right.
North Main down
Right.
by Ames Street. Those two buildings, perfect how it's set up. Perfect.
Some might argue is that what we're doing is that we're relocating the homeless population from the center of the city, which is factually what's happening.
Yeah.
Over to a much less visible location. Again, if all the humane factors are in place for a support base, for whatever the mental health concerns and issues are, that's probably a good thing ultimately in the end. There's been a tremendous amount of investment in our downtown area, and it is turning around, as I see it,
of course.
myself. And we want to continue that. And, I would agree with you that Father Bill's Mainspring relocation is the right
Yeah,
decision
of
moving
course,
forward
huh?
for the city.
Yeah.
And we want to remind our voters out there to don't forget citywide election is Tuesday, November 2nd, and please get out and vote.